Hi, welcome. I'm Dave Anderson. I'm a naturalist and I'm the Senior Director of Education at the Society for the Protection of New Hampshire Forests. Thank you for watching our Facebook lunchtime learning session. Today's topic is vernal pool amphibians. Topic that's pretty close to my heart. Vernal pools are an ephemeral wildlife habitat. They're usually temporary, fishless, and they support some indicator species, some of which are obligate, meaning that they are obligated to breed in vernal pools and nowhere else. They support two species of the forest, wood frog and spotted salamanders, but also some others, things you may not think of. Insects like caddisfly larvae. There are fairy shrimp, which are also like brine shrimp, or if you're old enough to remember, sea monkeys. Those were things that you added water and they made their own little life. Those are fairy shrimp cysts. And then also another species, which is a fingernail clam. So who would have thought that there are shrimp and clams living in New Hampshire forests? And those are just some of the intrigues when you start to explore vernal pools. The species, the marquee species, the superstars of vernal pools tend to be wood frogs and spotted salamanders. Today is beautiful, the sun is shining, the wind is blowing. What a difference. Yesterday it was pouring rain, it was warmer, it was close to 60 degrees. And last night, when the temperature dropped to about 50 degrees, it was the big night for amphibian migration and breeding. The setting right here at home is an artificial pool that I'll show you in just a minute. But we were basically hanging out, listening to the woodcocks in the field across the road, and there was a breeding frenzy. We could hear a chorus of wood frogs, and you'll hear that too in just a little bit. Well, how can you tell it's the big night? Usually it's the sound of the peepers and then the chorus of the wood frogs. And even though it was raining and I really didn't want to go outside, we pulled on our boots, we gathered a flashlight, and I grabbed the net, and I didn't grab a raincoat. I grabbed my big rubber boots and some enthusiasm and a camera and some headlamps, and we came out to the vernal pool that's in our front yard. You'll hear me call it the cement pond. I'm sort of borrowing that from Jed Clampett from the Beverly Hillbillies, who referred to his swimming pool as a cement pond. This is a garden feature. It is a historic lily pool in what was once a very formal garden. And it's similar to one that is at the Rocks Estate up in Bethlehem. It turns out that man-made ponds in a lily pool pond in a formal garden can work pretty well as a vernal pool. It certainly is convenient when it's on the front lawn and it's pouring rain and you really don't want to pull on your boots and go out into the pouring rain, but that's what you need to do. And last night, that's exactly what we did. So let's go down and take a look at the pool today, and then we'll roll back the tape to last night. Come on. Well, this is our vernal pool. It's a lily pond in a garden, a perennial garden, and over the years, letting the leaf litter accumulate, we've been able to see a lot of wood frogs and spotted salamanders here. And today, by the light of day, it's hard to tell that there was a big party here last night, except for one thing. In the bottom of the pool, if the light is just right, you can see these little white flakes on the bottom. It's hard with the reflection off the water. Maybe I can shield it with my notebook. And can you see on the bottom? There you go. That works. Those little white popcorn-like things on the bottom of the pool are called spermatophores. Those are little packets of genetic material that were left by a congress of male spotted salamanders who were leaving those on the bottom to be picked up by the females in breeding last night. Now I do want to just mention one more thing as I sit here by the poolside. And again, today, no sign of frogs, no sign of salamanders, just one of our cats, Henry. He likes the vernal pool too. He's a frogging cat. He spends the summer down here watching green frogs and bullfrogs. But no amphibians were harmed in the making of this video. We returned all of them to the water. Also, it's really important to know that amphibians breathe through their skin, and so clean hands are really essential. No soaps, no chemical lotions, no insect repellent, because if you're going to handle these amphibians, you don't want to contaminate them with anything that's on your own skin. So before we roll back the tape, one more thing. Turn up your speakers because we were almost whispering at times. Oh yeah. And I apologize for some of the lighting and the camera challenges, but stick with me. And I hope that you will enjoy this and you'll also learn. Here are a couple of spermatophores. We put them on a cast iron pan, not because we're going to prepare anything with them, but they look like little, somebody told me once that it was like a little nuclear plant cooling tower. They're little conical shaped packets that are littering the bottom of the pool, and by daylight you may visit a vernal pool and the only thing you see is these things underneath the deepest part of the water, the deepest part of the pool, and that tells you that there had been a congress of spotted salamanders last night. So thank you for joining us, and I'm Dave Anderson, the Director of Education for the Society for the Protection of New Hampshire Forests. This is the Forest Society's Facebook lunchtime learning session. We're going to roll back the tape to last night and let's go vernal pooling on the big night. Flashlight died. Hey, it's Dave Anderson. It's the big night. It's raining. It's 50 degrees. The wood frogs are calling. You hear that? It's a chorus of male wood frogs calling for the ladies to come to the vernal pool. They're in there with a mating chorus and hoping to attract mates so that they can go into the love embrace of the frog, which is called amplexus. And we'll go down to the vernal pool, which is actually a cement pond in the front yard. But bear with me, and we'll see if we can show you what a wood frog chorus and what the spotted salamanders look like inside the water. It's been raining all day. This is not just a big night, this is the big night. Let's go see. This little guy. How about this guy? Meanwhile, down in the bottom of the pool, there are spotted salamanders. I counted 6 of them. They're in the leaves. Here's 2 of them right here. 2 spotted salamanders. The males will leave a little packet on the bottom called the spermatophore. Frogs, wood frogs, and spotted salamanders in the leaves. Whoa, here comes another guy. The males always arrive first. Salamanders are silent. They're on the bottom. And there's more of them in here that we can't see in the leaves. And we got wood frogs on the top. I'm going to try to catch a wood frog with a net. Here's a wood frog. He's chorusing. It's distracting. It's been raining all day. There on the bottom, 2 spotted salamanders. Can you see them? I'll try to get one of those too. I'm just distracted because there's so many of them. Here's the deal with this male. The males are smaller and kind of chocolate brown. When the females arrive, they're larger and almost copper colored. And a male will embrace her and hang on, and when she deposits her eggs on the surface, he fertilizes those externally. In fact, I'm going to try to catch him. Hang on now. Let's catch a male wood frog. Here he is, right here. Spring peeper. The male wood frog. Here, you hold on to this. Now he's hopping all over the place. He's not happy. If I take him, this little male, and I give him a little embrace, he's going to do a release call. If I grab him right behind his front legs, squeeze him just a little bit, he should give a release call. Which sounds to me like, get off, get off. Come on. That's the release call. That says, get off, you've made a mistake. I am not a female. I am a male. Do not put me in amplexus. Do not grab me behind my front legs. But ready, I'll do it again. Ready, I'll squeeze him a little bit. He'll give a release call. Come on, little guy. That, and I'll put him back in the pool. Here he goes. There he is. Now, we've got these two male wood frogs on the big night. This is just not any big night. This is not a big night. This is the big night. And I'll see if I can find a spotted salamander. There's one right here. There's two right here. There's three right here. This is a congress of salamanders. Can you see them? 1, 2, 3, over here, 4 spotted salamanders in this part of the pool, moving around. Good job, yeah. See that guy? I'm going to catch one and bring him up. Salamanders are silent courtship. Oh, there's probably a dozen of them in here. The more you look, the more you see. Look over here, there's 2 more. See those? 2 more over here. I mean, this pool is filled with, there's eastern newts. I saw a spring peeper. I see spotted salamanders. They're coming up for air once in a while. I'm going to bring one up for you. I felt bad for the wood frogs because I interrupted their Do not try this at home. Nothing. Let me dump it out. try again. I see more. If I can use both hands and you hold the flashlight, you know what? Just use your headlamp. Thanks, Carla. I'm going to try to catch a swell. There's one. And we got some eggs and we got a salamander. Let's take a look. I'm going to put these guys, these are fresh eggs. The wood frog eggs, you can actually see salamander eggs are underneath the water. The wood frog eggs float at the top. And these are wood frog eggs because you can see the individual outlines of each individual embryo. This one's a little older because they're turning black, and you can see the embryos in there. When they're fresh, they're white like that. They're absorbing water. Here's another one. 2 egg masses. These are fresh laid jelly-like wood frog egg. I'm sorry, this is a salamander egg mass. See that? Those are the little embryos of the salamanders. And here is the spotted salamander. He's hiding from me in the leaf litter. Here he is. That is the spotted salamander. There are a dozen of them here in the pool tonight. It's been raining all day. Even as we speak, these guys are migrating into the pool. They're coming in mass.
And up Dave's arms.
Yeah. Tonight, with all the rain, it's all about the chorusing wood frogs and the silent salamanders who hold the congress at the bottom of the pool. Now, unlike wood frogs, the males actually hang on to the female and fertilize the eggs externally as the eggs are being laid, male salamanders lay the spermatophores on the bottom of the pool, and the females go down and will pick up a little spermatophore or 2 or 3 or 4 with their vent, their cloaca, and fertilization takes place internally. I'll try to show you her vent. Right here between the back legs. Right there. Very hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
So Father's Day is a very confusing holiday in a vernal pool because the females seemingly randomly pick up little packets of spermatophores at the bottom. Fertilization takes place internally, and then they'll swim down and lay an egg mass attached to vegetation well beneath the surface of the water. Generally, these salamander egg masses are at the bottom of the pool, and the wood frog eggs tend to be at the top of the pool and ride up and down with the water. So they hide out in the leaf litter. And it all comes down to this one night of the year after a heavy rain when the temperatures are in the 40s or 50s. It's all going on. I want to get this salamander back into the pool. Thank you very much for your sacrifice. And back to the pool you go. And these egg masses, fresh, right back down into the bottom of the pool. And when I say pool, in nature, these take place during spring rains and snowmelt when the temperatures are at least above 42 degrees Fahrenheit. There's a migration taking place. Even all around us, there's probably salamanders coming in. I hear peepers. There was a woodcock calling tonight. I got so excited I lost my flashlight. Here it is. And when I say vernal pool, we're actually at a cement pond in the front yard that every year tends to draw wood frogs, and spotted salamanders. We also saw peepers here tonight. We saw eastern spotted newts, which are those red spotted newts, the juveniles of which are the red Fs, those bright orange ones that you see walking around in the forest. And I tried not to muddy up the water, but I did a little bit with my net when I went to catch that guy. There are at least a dozen spotted salamanders in here, and we've interrupted the chorus of the wood frogs who are doing their little croaking, sounds like quacking ducks, little chorus. There's an eastern spotted newt right over there. Can you see that little guy? That's a pond salamander. They live in lakes and ponds. When they're young, for 5 to 7 years, they're bright orange. And then they metamorphose into this adult, which is olive green on the back and bright yellow underneath. But those are not vernal pool obligates. They can live in ponds and lakes. But these spotted salamanders and wood frogs only live in these temporary fishless ponds that form from spring snowmelt called vernal pools. And tonight is the big night when they're moving from the forest into these vernal pools. And there are more and more and more down in the bottom of the pond. You can see there's another one. And interestingly enough, it has nothing to do with Newt Gingrich. These spotted salamanders form a congress, and the males will leave the spermatophores at the bottom of the pool and the females go and pick them up. So internal fertilization, eggs beneath the surface in a thick jelly-like sheath, and then the wood frogs are different. The eggs are at the top, and the males and females actually see each other. There are no female wood frogs in here yet tonight. They're probably on their way. If we leave this pool and the wood frogs start congressing again, there's a wood frog. The interesting thing is they have a fidelity to their natal vernal pool. They return to the pool in which they were born, or the pool in which they first bred successfully. It's kind of like college homecoming weekend. And the males arrive first. The male wood frogs are smaller and kind of chocolate brown. There's a spotted salamander coming up for air. And there's an eastern newt coming up for air. And there's a wood frog floating on the top. It's all right here concentrated in this little cement pond in the front yard. But the male wood frogs chorus, and when the larger females show up, they tend to be more kind of a copper color and about a third larger than the male wood frog. And when the females show up, the males will mount her and clasp their legs around beneath her front legs and hold on in a love embrace that's called amplexus. And then she will swim off and lay the eggs, and then the male fertilizes the eggs as they emerge from the female. Whereas the salamanders don't have that kind of contact. They waft pheromones around in the water, and the males go down and deposit those spermatophores, and when the females arrive, again larger, they will deposit, they will actually pick up the spermatophores with their cloaca and then swim off and lay the eggs after they've been fertilized internally. So here's a little male right here. He'd like to chorus for some ladies to come, but I think he's a little shy because of all the flashlight activity. And it's distracting because behind them, underneath them, I can see all kinds of spotted salamanders swimming around in here as well. This is an artificial vernal pool. It's a cement lily pond in the front yard. Look at these two down here. They waft pheromones. They're congressing at the bottom of the pool. Do you see that? It's amazing. It literally takes place in an explosion of breeding with the first heavy rains in April when the air temperatures are above 42 degrees, a warm rain. Today the temperature was about 55. It's probably now in the low 50s. And they are moving all around the place, crossing roads, returning to the vernal pool in which they were born. A male wood frog can travel a quarter mile to get back to the pool he was born in. Males and females, they emerge from the forest. Its Latin name is Rena sylvatica, the frog of the forest. The salamanders can travel about 200 meters to get to the pool in which they were born. Yeah, that's a newt. That's a spotted newt. They're not obligate to vernal pools. Wood frogs and spotted salamanders breed in vernal pools only. They don't breed in other wetlands. In the background, I hear a chorus of peepers out in the marsh. Peepers will breed in vernal pools, but they'll also breed in wetlands, rivers, ponds. These guys, here's one. And they're really only conspicuous during warm April rainstorms on the big night like tonight. They're abroad, they're moving, they're fossorial, they live underground in the forest. They really are only abroad, above ground, traveling around in a rainstorm because they're sensitive, they dry out. And during the daytime, they'll all be here, but they'll be hidden in the leaf litter underneath the pond. So the thing about it that's crazy is you've got to put on your raincoat and your rubber boots and go out in the rain on an April night with your camera and your flashlight or your selfie stick. Thanks to Carla for filming. Here comes one guy. He's coming up for a breath. Yeah. And it's all happening right now in an explosion, a frenzy of breeding. In a matter of days, the adults leave the pool, leaving their eggs behind, and those eggs need to hatch and grow as what you might call tadpoles or polywogs, and they metamorphose and get their legs. Here he comes, he's coming up for a breath. And he swims back down into the leaf litter. There are easily a dozen spotted salamanders in the pool tonight, and 2 male wood frogs, and no females, but there are egg masses. We found some egg masses at the bottom of the pool. And there's that male wood frog again over there. And here's an egg mass floating at the surface right here. Vernal pool, amphibian breeding. On the big night in April. Oh, I hear you. I hear you, little wood frog. Yeah. He says, you're not a female wood frog. Can you guys vacate the premises so we can, there's one wood frog there, and there's the other wood frog right over here. So we got 2 male wood frogs, and we have untold numbers of spotted salamanders. And 1 floating egg mass. So it's pretty exciting. I'll do the moo. You think that's funny?
Yeah.
Here's my thing. They live in the forest. They're fossorial. They live underground. They're inconspicuous for most of the year. The spotted salamander, his Latin name is Ambystoma, and the wood frog is named Rena sylvatica, which literally means the frog of the forest. And they breed explosively in these temporary vernal pools. They exploit the fact that there's no fish in these pools, and their breeding takes place in a matter of nights, and then they leave their eggs behind, and they return to the forest. And you may see wood frogs in the forest in the summertime or in a field. You won't see spotted salamanders. They're living underground in tunnels underneath logs. And these are forest species that move against the gradient, whereas most things are moving down through the watershed with the way the water flows. These guys return uphill again to the vernal pool, their natal vernal pool where they were born, and breed. And you need to get out in the rain with a flashlight, and maybe if you have a net, and you can find them breeding on the big night. I'm Dave Anderson from the Forest Society. This was an impromptu lunchtime live lesson, I guess, even though it's now probably 9 o'clock at night. I could stay out here all night if you wanted to hang out and look at frogs and salamanders with me. I see flashlights down the road. I'm wondering if my neighbors are out exploring, looking at vernal pools. I hope you do take advantage of an opportunity if you hear quacking wood frogs to check in on them And also, if you have land with a vernal pool on it, you want to protect that feature because it's really important. By July, these pools dry up, and all of the larval salamanders and larval tadpole wood frogs have grown their legs, metamorphosed, and moved back into the forest. It's a really cool thing, but it's literally only a couple of hours a year. Who wants to go out in the pouring rain? I do. Thanks for watching. Again, Dave Anderson from the Forest Society, and happy vernal pooling, and happy big night. Take care.